I've been a huge critic of Seiko over the years. However, I have to say there is one thing about Seiko that a lot of people forget. A lot of the watches that we love today, even a lot of the micro brands that we love today, are inspired by Seiko designs. And that's because Seiko have been around a long time. They've been innovators in the industry, and they have come out with some iconic watches throughout their very storied history. Today, we're taking a look at one of their more affordable watches. This is a Seiko 5. It's a reissue of their extremely affordable SNXS. However, they're making this a little bit less affordable. I do want to mention that this watch was lent into the channel by Mark at Long Island Watches. So if you're in the market for a new watch, definitely check out their website. I'll put a link to their website down in the description below. So without further ado, let's flip the camera and take a look at what I think is a very handsome watch, the SRPK89. The SNXS, a very popular watch, one of the most popular Seikos, probably affordable Seikos of the Seiko 5 sports genre of all time. They're extremely popular because they are very affordable. They have changed the price on this, so this is less affordable than that watch was. However, I have to say it's a really nicely made watch. However, there are a few shortcomings. So I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to complain about the price on this watch. And I kind of agree with you and I kind of disagree with you, and I'll get into that in just a minute. This was lent into the channel by Mark from longislandwatches.com. They have this in stock, and they have other watches, Islander watches. I actually have my Islander on today, a watch that I have not made a video for yet, but I will be very soon. I just recently purchased this as a vacation watch, and that's the watch on my wrist. I'll show you that in just a second. This is the new SRPK89. This is the black dial variant, and this is the specific one I wanted to see because I love the dial on this watch. It's black, but they put a creamy lume on here. Of course, that's Lume Bright. That black and creamy color, I think, goes really well together. And then they put an orange second hand, so it gives you a little bit of a vintage vibe. This is a 37 millimeter watch, so it actually wears like a vintage sized watch. However, it feels very modern. The bracelet is solid. You have solid links on this watch. You have a solid end link. You have a pretty nice clasp considering that it is pressed, so I think it looks really good, and I think they did a good job with it. This is 37 millimeters from side to side. You have the crown that's at the 4 o'clock position. It's a 12.5 millimeter thick watch. That's including the domed hardlex. I think that's probably the first point that people will complain about because this is getting a hardlex. I think it's either you have to accept that Seiko are not going to put sapphire crystals on these watches, or you just have to upgrade them or not buy the watch. Those are really your three options. There are advantages to hardlex crystals over sapphire crystals. However, when it comes to a everyday watch, field watch, things like that, it's the sapphire crystal that beats the hardlex crystal. It is domed. It looks really good, but that is something that people will complain about. This gets a 45 millimeter lug to lug, and like I said, a 12.5 millimeter thickness. You get to see the 4R movement in the back. It is the 4R36, and it is a 100 meter water resistant watch. So Seiko 5, it's one of those things. They all get 100 meters of water resistance. They are automatic. And something that they've changed on this watch is that you're getting a color matched background. So I believe they're all black. So I don't think it matters what color you're getting. I believe you're only getting black. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put a comment down in the description. But this gets a surround around that day date, and it has a black background. So it does blend in a little bit better with that black background, but now you're getting the day because I believe some of the previous versions of the SNXS did not have the day, so it stands out a little bit more. And you have that surround again, so that adds to making it a little bit more prominent on the dial. The dial itself, you're getting a black matte dial, and then you have Seiko. That is applied up at the 12 o'clock below that. You have the Seiko 5. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would rather them just put Seiko 5 Sports on the back of the watch, or maybe even on the clasp, but I wish they wouldn't put that 5 on the dial. I guarantee you if this watch had a sapphire and it didn't have that S on there, they would charge double the price. And then at the bottom of the dial, right above the 6 o'clock, it just says automatic, and they changed that into a nice script, which looks really good and kind of classy. And it goes along with this sort of field watch, dress watch, everyday watch vibe that you get from this watch. You do get nice finishing on the case. Again, like I was saying at the top of this video in the intro, the finishing, the design is what you're paying for with Seiko, and the quality. So you're getting really nice finishing on this case. Really just as good as many of their other watches that aren't in the Seiko 5 line, in their higher end lines. You're getting a beautiful line of polish on the top of the case. You're getting one on the bottom of the case, and then there's brushing on the side, drilled lugs, and the case back is, like I said, screwed in, it's polished. The case back itself, or the back of the case, is polished as well. So a little bit blingy on the bottom side of the case, but on the top of the case, it's all brushed. And then you're getting that bezel. You have a thin bezel on here, but it's not too thin. I think it works really well. It makes it look a little bit bigger than it actually is, that 37 millimeters, and that is polished and it slopes down really nicely. You could wear this with a suit. You could wear this going swimming. It's a really great option for something like a vacation. You also have a pretty nice bracelet on here. Like I said before, it's all solid except for the clasp, which is pressed. However, it's a nice pressed clasp. It looks really neat and clean. It's signed Seiko, and there's 2 positions of micro adjust. Do I wish there was more micro adjust? Of course, but the 2 positions is not bad. It's going to help you with getting, the right size for your wrist. There's no half links on this, but then again, like I said, it's their kind of more affordable version of their dress watch, sports watch, whatever you want to call it. This, like I said, was lent into the channel by Mark at Long Island Watches. If you are interested in this watch, definitely go to their website. I will add a link directly to this watch on their website. They lent the watch over to me, and I really do appreciate it. So this will be going back to them once I am done with the video. Today on my wrist, I have my Islander. And I wore this watch specifically because, number one, I think it's a great watch. It's a really good looking watch, and it's really well made. And it's also far cheaper than the watch. Well, not far cheaper, but it is cheaper than the watch that we're looking at today from Seiko. So if you are fed up with Seiko, Islander has an answer to that, and they make a lot of homages to Seikos as well, but they make watches like this, which is their own design. So there are options out there, but Seiko, they have a lot of original designs, and that's kind of one of the reasons why you go to Seiko, is because they are a historic brand. They have a lot of original designs, but if you're fed up with that, you can go to a brand like this. That's where micro brands were born from. Essentially, people getting fed up with the mainstream watches and the prices and the quality that you're getting for those prices. So brands like Islander popped up, which took them head on and really beat them at their own game. So you can go both ways. There's arguments of why you would buy a watch like this, the Islander, or the Seiko that we're looking at today. There it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. You have to admit this is a good looking watch. I like the simplicity, but the color combinations, the stainless steel with that black dial and the creamy lume, the orange second hand, all of that mixed together, I think it looks really good. Very smart looking, very clean looking, at the same time kind of vintage looking. And you have that, I guess it's a multi-link bracelet. It's like a 3-link bracelet. I don't know what you would call it. Very similar to a President style bracelet, but not really. A little bit different. Pretty cool, and I bet this would look really good on a strap. Price on this is $395. So you are approaching that $400 price point for a watch with a Hardlex crystal. Now that's not unheard of. They've done that in the past. However, this was a more affordable watch in the past. They have made some significant upgrades with the 4R36, the solid bracelet, and a couple of other little upgrades or tweaks that they've made to the dial and the lume and things like that. It does seem like it's pretty expensive, but like I said, it is a Seiko. You're getting Seiko quality. You're getting Seiko finishing at this price point, and if you could look past the Hardlex, I definitely think it's worth the money if you really like Seiko. And I do. I have a hard time with Seiko a lot of the time, but I always come back to Seiko, and I really do enjoy them. And I enjoy this watch. There you go, the Lume. That's another reason why I love Seiko. The Lume Bright is excellent on this watch. It's very liberally applied to the hands and indices. I actually let this sit for a few seconds before I made the video because it was glowing very brightly and I wanted to see if it would last. So I let it sit for a few minutes and here are the results. I mean, it is still very, very bright. I wish there was a little bit of lume on the second hand. It's the only thing I can say about the lume here. $395 might seem like a lot of money for some people, considering that you are getting a 4R and, of course, that Hardlex crystal. I think it's probably the Hardlex crystal, which is the hardest pill to swallow for most. And then when you compare it to micro brands, a brand like Islander watches, you get a lot more money from Islander than you do from Seiko currently. However, it is a Seiko. You're getting the name, you're getting the heritage, and you're getting really nice finishing as well. Not that the Islander doesn't have really nice finishing. They do, probably on par with the Seiko. But again, Seiko make iconic watches. They've been around for a long time, and some people buy into that. I'm one of them, so I really do like Seiko, but I also like Islander. I own an Islander. I purchased that with my own money, so I really do love that watch. I think it's really good looking and really well made for the money, for the price especially. It's incredible. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll put a link to both of these watches in the description if you're interested in either one of them. Check them out over at Islander Watches. Mark at Long Island Watches let me in this watch, and I am very grateful for that, so I appreciate it. Definitely check out their website if you're interested in this watch or really any watch. Like I said, even the Islander that I have on my wrist today, or any Islander, check out their website. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.